Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump just continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad, back with you for Bettor Off Dead. Saturday, I almost said Sunday. Saturday, July 26th, and Happy Gilmore weekend, or Happy Gilmore weekend. Happy Gilmore 2 is out, everybody. I rewatched the original last night. Still classic. Still had me laughing quite a bit. Hadn't watched it in a while, and I will watch the new one, which I'm hearing decent things about, actually, even though I hate the unoriginality in the movie industry. Now everything is a remake or a sequel, but at least this is a remake and probably an homage to a classic 90s comedy at this point. So I will watch it today and see how it is. But people have been saying good things about it, so maybe it is actually funny. Yesterday, the slump indeed continued. We're 0-4, 0-4 run over the last couple of days that I've given out plays. I think I skipped Thursday. Skipping the Thursday pussy. The thussy, skip the thussy with a very small card on Thursday, although my leans I think were pretty good on Thursday, but Wednesday was just horrific, 0-3, and then yesterday 0-1. The one game I gave out, man, the under, Mets San Francisco, was a bad start to the game. I mean, Clay Holmes did his job. He was good enough, only allowed 1 run, and I did lean to the Mets as well, which I gave out on the show as a lean to the Mets, but I thought the under was the better way to look, and the Mets were the much easier and correct way to go. But, man, I still think the under, I mean, obviously it had a shot to get there. Logan Webb was bad. I mean, he was he was a lot worse than I thought. Surprisingly bad yesterday, and that was the reason why I didn't get there. So the early going, it looked like it was over. Like, over and going over. It was over in every way. Then, of course, they have to tease us. We get into the 9th inning, and it's still sitting at an under. I had under 7.5, and it was 6-1 into the 9th inning. And, of course, you do have to get both teams up to the plate there, though, because San Francisco was losing at home, so you knew they were going to have to bat. But the Mets didn't need to score any more runs, man. They're up 6-1. I mean, yeah, you want to pad your lead, whatever. They scored 2 runs in the 9th inning, and that's how that game went over against the Giants' formidable bullpen. Although, of course, in a 6-1 game, you're not going to use your best relievers. You'll save them for the next day, but still ridiculous when you get that tease. It's a roller coaster of emotion, man. It looks like it looks like it's dead. It's completely over. So then just end it at that point, man. But no, instead we have to go into the 9th inning. The game's still under, and then we lose in the 9th inning. I hate it. I'm not sure that it was really the wrong play. Maybe it wasn't the greatest play, but it was my favorite on the board yesterday. So whatever, man. But anyway, yes, I have my Happy Gilmore hat on. Let's be happy here. Or my Happy Gilmore-esque Bruins hat. At least I haven't burned it, like I said I might in the intro here. We'll talk about baseball today. We have one extra baseball game today because there is a doubleheader. There was one rain out yesterday, and it wasn't in the series that I thought it was going to happen in. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about WNBA in a second here as well. Let me collect my thoughts real quickly here. I don't think I have any other thoughts, all right? I don't know. Well, how do you know? You're not in my head. I'm going to give out 2 baseball plays today, though, that are both on even money plays. So decent prices on these. I'm going to give it a side, as you can see that's in the game that I have listed in the title here. So I'm going to save that to the end of the show, and then I am going to give out a total as well, which of course is going to be another under. Charles, what's up, man? It was good? All right, well, that's good to know. I heard that it was like, that it has like a lot of like shout outs to fans of the first one, which I think is that's a good idea. It's like you watch it for nostalgia, although hopefully it has, the main goal is it better make you laugh. Like as long as it's funny, then I think it qualifies as good. Like it better just be actually funny. That's the only thing, man. All right, let's get into this, man. We'll go into the rundown here. We'll get caught in a rundown here. I'm eventually going to change that to the breakdown and have a Toad crying and maybe being suicidal or something. We do have WNBA today. We have LA at New York, which, as I always say, is the rematch of the first WNBA game ever. Lisa Leslie and Rebecca Lobo, but they are, of course, long gone. They're not dead, but they're dead to the WNBA, at least because they're obviously not playing anymore. This is a mismatch. LA, they've had a tough schedule, as I continue to reiterate. They're not really as bad as their record looks, but the Liberty are one of the top two teams in the league between them and Minnesota. But the Liberty are on a back-to-back. They played yesterday, and it was not really an easy game, although they won fairly easily by double digits, but against a pretty solid opponent, Phoenix. They're not traveling, of course, but a back-to-back, always a little bit difficult. But for LA, they're playing a third straight road game, and I don't think they're going to be feeling like too high on themselves after putting up 100 against Connecticut. They've been scoring a lot of points. They've scored over 90 in 4 straight games, all wins, but against only Connecticut and Washington. So you got to kind of dial it back a little bit as far as, oh my God, LA is just wasting these teams now, at least scoring a lot offensively. I don't think they're going to be like overconfident coming into this, though, because we all know how good the Liberty are. So I do still think LA, they're going to show up. Both teams probably will show up here. The money is moving against the Liberty, which I do understand because they're on the back-to-back. They're down from 12.5 to 10.5. 12.5 did seem like kind of a little bit of a high line there on that one too, but what do I know? It's WNBA. Slight lean to taking the points with LA, but there's no way I'm going to get involved in a game like that. I'm not going to give out any plays here. Although, luckily, as I keep saying, with yesterday, that was the thought that I had. Yesterday, I did not actually bet that game as I'm trying to either conserve my money or free it up to start betting again. So we'll see what I wind up doing, but I have not been actually betting these games, but I'm handicapping them as if I were. Yeah, you liked it, but you're retarded. Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? That's what an Adam Sandler comedy is, man. His top comedies, that's the reason why you like them. Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, far and away the top 2 Adam Sandler movies of all time. You like them for that exact reason. Seattle is at Washington, the aforementioned Washington. Washington lost 2 straight games to LA, and before that, what did they do? Oh, yeah, they went to Seattle, and they beat Seattle, which I think was before the All-Star break. So this is a little bit of a road revenge spot for Seattle. So I think whereas Seattle might not totally take a team like Washington that seriously, they might now because Washington did just go into their place and beat them not that long ago. So I do think Seattle will take this game a bit more seriously. Seattle is coming off an easy win over Chicago, now playing a second straight road game. They're not in a spot yet where like the travel spot I think is really going to hurt them or anything, but you might feel a little bit overconfident after you wreck a team. You wreck Angel Reese's team by almost 40 points. That's just ridiculous, but Chicago sucks. The line's moving against Seattle, though. They're down from 5.5 to 3.5 with juice. Don't know if there's like an injury situation here, but I kind of think Seattle should show up in this game because it is the road revenge angle here, although Washington is good at home, 7-4 at home, so they have been significantly better at home than away. We're not really looking at any, for Seattle, the line did not move because of any injury. I think Samuelson has already been out for a while. I'm not even sure about that, but yeah, so Seattle looks like they basically have their full roster that you would expect them to have in this game, so we're not going to touch the WNBA, though. Angel Reese, she can't shoot. She is a good rebounder, but she's very, very bizarre looking. I don't like her at all, obviously, because I think she's part of that, kind of race rivalry there, which, I just think everybody's just going after Caitlin Clark for that reason, and Reese is kind of the I don't know if I want to say the main culprit, but she's kind of like the face of like that aspect of the WNBA. All right, we'll go to baseball here. I'm going to skip Philly in New York right now, which is one of the biggest games on the day, which is on MLB Network. It is the first game up in the afternoon, but it's going to be one of my best bets, so I'm going to get to that at the end. Cleveland, Kansas City have a doubleheader, so we'll talk about this. They got rained out yesterday, and for once, we actually have a doubleheader where game one is actually the same exact pitching matchup that was scheduled for yesterday. So I handicapped this pitching matchup yesterday. So it's the same pitching matchup that was going to happen yesterday. Where a lot of times you'll see one of the two pitchers get moved to the night game or the later game, but that's not going to be the case here. And yes, the other game is at night. Basically every game, pretty much every Saturday game is at night, so I'm surprised they have this big afternoon game today. Usually everything's evening on Saturday, but the doubleheader means there is an afternoon game, but I'm surprised Philly, New York is afternoon. Anyway, Cleveland, Kansas City, both of these teams have weak offenses. Kansas City has a somewhat better bullpen than Cleveland's. Both bullpens rested yesterday, so all of that kind of makes you think that this has got to be kind of an under in the first game, right? Because you have offenses that might be a little bit cold and they're already not good. You have rested bullpen, so the best relievers should be available here, although the teams are going to have to kind of weigh that against how many relievers do they want to save for the evening game here. Gavin Williams, 3.54 ERA, 1.38 whip, though, for Cleveland, so his whip not that good. 4.17 ERA on the road, so he is worse on the road. He's coming off, as I mentioned yesterday, a really good start against the A's with 11 strikeouts. 1 walk, 7 innings, 1 run allowed, and that was not at the A's crazy hitting stadium, but I kind of take that as more of an outlier type of line there, pitching line for Williams, because he has not done that at all otherwise. He had 6 straight starts prior to that where he walked at least 3 in every outing, so I don't think we're ready to trust Williams just because he had 1 really good start. Maybe he's coming into form a little bit, but that seems like a little bit more of an outlier to me. His walk rate has been pretty bad. 26-13 strikeout walk ratio this month, including that 11 strikeout performance. So it was a really bad ratio prior to that. His ERA is good this month, 3.04. So the one thing about Williams is he does actually induce a decent amount of ground balls usually, but this month it's been a lot of fly balls. So I don't know what happened there because more often than not he's had kind of a better ground ball rate, but this month that has not been the case. Whatever the case may be, his ERA remains fairly low, and he is facing a bad KC offense here, and he's been good against them in 78 at-bats, 19-5 strikeout walk ratio, 231 average, and 572 OPS. So maybe you can trust Williams in this specific matchup. Michael Wacha will be pitching for Kansas City. He's been okay this year, 3.62 ERA, 1.24 whip. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around for forever. He's kind of a command pitcher. Doesn't really blow guys away. He's been good at home this year, 2.72 ERA. It's a fairly pitcher-friendly park. This month, 3.6 ERA, which is pretty good, allowing 1 earned run apiece in his last couple outings. The Royals, however, have lost 7 of his last 8 starts, I believe is what that is. But part of that, of course, is because the Royals' offense cannot do anything. He had 1 bad start at Arizona this month, but maybe you give him a little bit of a pass for that because it's tough to pitch against Arizona in Arizona. But his strikeout walk ratio this month is 10-8. That is a high walk rate. You don't expect Wacha to have a really good strikeout rate, but Wacha is becoming a Wacha, which is a joke that I make a lot when his walk rate is high, but it is high this month. So you do have to worry about that a little bit. And last time out, he only had 1 strikeout. I mean, again, he's not really a strikeout guy, but 1 strikeout. It's a little bit alarming, especially against a not great offense like Miami. He is facing a not great Cleveland offense here, and his numbers are good against them in 86 at-bats, 19-9 strikeout walk ratio, 233 average, 616 OPS. So we do have good matchup numbers here, and because, again, everything that I said, weak offenses, decent bullpens, rested bullpens. Starting pitchers both do keep the run totals down for the most part. So I actually think the under is probably the way to look in this first game. The total's gone up a little bit, though, from 8.5 to 9. Very high total. The books have put out a total. I mean, when the books put out a total that high, they are kind of telling you something. I'm kind of surprised by that. We have 58% of tickets on the under, 70% of the cash on the over. So the market is totally disagreeing with me on that, but I would not want to play the over. in this game. And the money is also coming in on Kansas City a little bit, with 58% of tickets on Cleveland, 52% of the cash on Kansas City as a slight minus 112 favorite. It's definitely hot in Arizona, but Arizona just generally, well, I mean, they have a roofed stadium, though, I'm pretty sure, right? I think it's a retractable roof in Chase Field, so I'm pretty sure that because it's in Arizona, when it's too hot, I'm pretty sure they close the roof to try to cool it down a little bit. But the dimensions of that stadium, it's still a very hitter-friendly stadium there. So I think that's what's going on there in Arizona. Same thing with Houston. Houston has a retractable roof, so when it gets like really, really hot there, they close the roof, which I believe was the case. The one game that I went to in 2013, I was at a game, Toronto at Houston. I was visiting my friend who lives in Houston. We went to the game, and I think and Houston won, and it was dollar hot dog night, which you don't see that at a lot of stadiums. $1 hot dogs, baby, and you can really overload on that. You can do the 999 challenge if you want to try it. 9 dogs, 9 beers, and 9 innings. I didn't do that, but I think I had probably 5 dogs and maybe 3, 4 beers. I don't know. My buddy and I were drinking quite a bit that entire day, so I don't remember exactly what happened. I do know the Astros won the game, but it was like 110 degrees in Houston. It was in August. Oh, boy. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure they closed the roof during that one. Then I remember afterwards, they actually shoot it was a Friday night. They actually shoot fireworks out of the stadium after the game is over and after everybody's out of the stadium. They do Friday night fireworks, launching them out of the stadium. And we actually went up to the roof of my friend's the office building that he worked in. I don't know if he had roof access or what it was, but I do know we were up on the roof watching the fireworks. Very romantic, very homoerotic, obviously. Waka Waka, yeah, that's right, Fozzie. My parents, when I was a kid, the 2 cats that my parents had were both named after Muppets or whatever, and one of them was Fozzie. And the other was Kermit, and I'm the one that became the, not the frog, but the frog cousin that's owed a $1 hot dog. Well, no, I mean, it was the same hot dogs. It was just whatever hot dog they have at, it was Minute Maid Park back then. I don't know what they call it now. I think it changed sponsorships or whatever. Still the same stadium in Houston, but it was just whatever hot dog they served there. It was just, they sold them for $1 a pop that night. I mean, the hot dogs were fine. They're a typical, like, stadium dog. Yeah, I mean, Houston's pretty close to the Gulf, so I believe it was pretty humid. I just know it was crazy hot. It was like swamp-ass type of shit there. Probably a drier heat than it is in Florida, though. Anyway, I've only talked about one game here. We'll talk about the second game right now of the doubleheader just to get that done. This is Bibby against Boobich. How about that? Bibby Boobich. Booby and Booby. Bibby against Boobich is the starting pitching matchup in Game 2. Of course, we don't know what the bullpen usage is going to be like in Game 1. We still have 2 pretty bad offenses, though, obviously. That's going to stay the same. And the offenses, they might kind of use, like, you might see some guys that are usually in the lineup only being one of the 2 games, too, to try to give them a little bit of rest, too. So we'll see what they do with the lineups. A lot of this is going to depend on what the bullpen usage is in Game 1, though. So you kind of have to watch Game 1 if you really want to have all the information. Sometimes I will fire on Game 2 anyway if I think there's an angle there, regardless of the bullpen. But I don't think I would want to do it here. Bibby for Cleveland, I mean, he's basically their best starter, but he's been a little bit worse this year. 4.27 ERA, 1.22 whip. Mediocre numbers. He's been worse on the road pretty significantly. 5.37 road ERA, and he's allowed 14 of the 18 home runs he's allowed on the road, although he's pitched way more innings on the road, but still a worse home run rate. Cleveland has actually won his last 3 starts, and he's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in all 3. But the last 2 were the best 2, and they were against the White Sox and Baltimore, so not very intimidating offenses there. 17-7 strikeout walk ratio this month is pretty mediocre as well. 5.91 ERA this month, not good. Although, again, he did have 3 road starts this month, and 2 of them were Cubs, Houston, which are not really easy opponents to face. His numbers are good against Kansas City, and 100 at-bats. They only have 18 hits off him, a 180 average, 597 OPS. So they do have a lot of walks off him, 25 strikeouts, 15 walks. But overall, Bibby does do pretty well against Kansas City. He's going up against Boobich, who's been shockingly good for Kansas City this year. Now, the one thing about Boobich, though, is that He's been shockingly good this year as I belch. Dude, I like usually drink like oats overnight in the morning. For some reason, it gives me like acid reflux. I don't know what the fuck, man, because I do like those oats, and you think that it wouldn't be that crazy as far as acid reflux. Bubic, 2.38 ERA this year, 1.14 whip. The one thing you got to worry about with him, though, is that there are trade rumors swirling around as the trade deadline approaches. So you got to worry if that's any sort of distraction for him, thinking, well, like, where am I going next? But then again, maybe he wants to pitch better just so he looks better as far as like a trade piece. He's been worse at home this year, actually, although still a 2.85 home ERA. Still pretty good. Decent this month as well, 3.06 ERA, 14-6 strikeout walk ratio. Hasn't been at his best this month, but Kansas City still won all 3 of his starts this month. He pitched pretty poorly in the All-Star game, but he bounced back okay with a shutout 5-inning performance against Miami. Didn't strike out a lot of guys in that start, though, 2 strikeouts. So I don't know. I think maybe the All-Star game kind of distracted him a little bit because I think it might have been his first All-Star appearance. So he might kind of round back into form here. But Cleveland actually has good numbers off him. In 44 at-bats, 318 batting average, 842 OPS, 7-5 strikeout walk ratio. So looking at how this lines up, man, the splits don't look good for either pitcher here. So I worry about the splits for Bybee, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe Cleveland is kind of a way to look here just because their offense hits Bubic better than Kansas City's does against Bybee. But we have 53% of tickets and 87% of the cash on Kansas City in this game, and they're up from -125 to -130. So the public seems to kind of be leaning towards Cleveland in both games just because they've been hot recently, and the public never likes offenses that are so bad, that are as bad as Kansas City's is. Cleveland's really isn't that much better, though. But it looks like the cash percentage is coming in on Kansas City in both games. I would worry about it in this game probably more than the first game as far as Kansas City, just because, again, of those matchup numbers there. And maybe you want to take the bullpens out because you don't know what the bullpens are going to be like in this game. So possibly Cleveland as an underdog in the first 5 innings might make sense in that game. All right, Toronto-Detroit. This is one of the best series going on right now, man. Detroit has been awful since the All-Star break, though. They've now lost 5 more games in a row. They lost yesterday to Toronto. But again, Detroit did not have a good pitching matchup in this game, and they had Montero out there, which is basically bullpen game for Detroit up against Barrios. So you kind of had to expect that Toronto had the upper hand with that pitching matchup, which I did say on the show yesterday. So maybe Detroit is going to wind up with a better pitching matchup today, probably because it's Skubal day. So Skubal is pitching. So I kind of expect Detroit's losing streak to at least end temporarily for one day at least here. Detroit used a little bit more of their bullpen, but in that game we didn't really see much bullpen usage on either side. Toronto does have the better bullpen, and Toronto right now I think does actually have the better offense. So I do have everything up right now so we could actually see. Toronto, yeah, they're actually atop several offense right now. Detroit, not that much worse, though. So you have 2 decent offenses here, 2 at least decent bullpens. But I think you give Toronto a slight bullpen edge and hitting edge. But the starting pitching edge, you got to give to Skubal here. But Toronto, starting Kevin Gausman, he hasn't been that bad this year either. 4.01 ERA, 1.44 whip. He's been pretty good. I still don't know if that's how his name is pronounced. I hear a lot of the professionals saying it's Gausman. I don't know. I like Gausman, man. It sounds more, I don't know. It has more emphasis behind it. He's been pretty consistent both home and away. Doesn't have significant splits. He's been pretty good this month, allowing 3 or fewer earned runs in all 4 starts. Toronto's won 4 of his last 5 starts, including 2 against the Yankees. So he is pitching fairly well here. 3.18 ERA. This month, although too many walks, multiple walks in every outing, 22-11 strikeout walk ratio this month. But still, overall, I would say he's in pretty decent form, and he has good numbers against Detroit and 96 at-bats, a 31-10 strikeout walk ratio, 229 average, and 594 OPS. So Gausman does have good matchup numbers there. Yeah, Bybee and Bubic, yeah. Boob. I mean, I would probably laugh, yeah. I'll talk about another name that I think announcers have to laugh at in a bit when we get to the A's. And if you saw what happened yesterday, you'll know what it is. Yankees team total over. I would say yes, I don't hate that as a play, but you'll see what my play is. Well, you probably know what it is now because I said I like a side in that game. So if I said yes to Yankees team total over, you probably know what it is. But yeah, 4.5 actually seems fairly low. Is that really what the Yankees team total is? That seems low to me. With the looks like the overall total is 9.5. Are you sure it's not like 5.5? Well, I guess because the Yankees actually aren't even the favorite, so you might be right. So yes, actually, I do like the Yankees team total over since I think they're going to win the game. So yes, I would agree with that, Thomas. Seems like actually a decent number on that. Maybe I should do more team totals because I mostly do sides. Well, it's low because they're facing Suarez, but I'll get to that when I get to it. Which is going to be in the best bet segment at the end. So you got to wait, man. I got to build up the anticipation, like skipping the pussy. But yes, I do think it's a good price on that. I think the Yankees, for once, it's a rare situation, man, where I think the Yankees are being undervalued today. Anyway, back to Toronto, Detroit here. Scooble, man, when I descript this episode today, it's going to be like, it's going to be a total mess. It's not going to be able to figure it out. It's going to split up Detroit, Toronto, but that's okay. It never really gets it right. Scooble is pitching. Maybe he's in a little bit of a distraction spot, though, because he's actually been on paternity leave, which I believe is his second child. But I don't even think he's missed a start, so I'll look at that in a minute. Maybe he had a start pushed back. Obviously, Scooble has been great this year. 2.19 ERA, 0.81 whip. We all know this. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. He's been a little bit worse at home, 2.42 ERA, as if that really matters. He last pitched 6 days ago against Texas. So, again, I think maybe he just had one start pushed back, if anything. So the paternity leave didn't even really affect his starting pitching schedule, I don't think. I think the games that he missed, he just wasn't going to pitch in anyway. So he timed it right, man. Scooble is so good as a pitcher that when he conceives a child, he knows that his child is going to be born like during his during the games where he doesn't have to pitch, you know what I mean? And right after he pitches in the All-Star game too. So, man, that's all-star behavior there. Maybe his wife had to have a C-section, man, right? Like really time that thing out, plan it. That's actual Planned Parenthood, man. Tarek Scooble right there. Anyway, yeah. So will it be a distraction for him because he has a new baby? I don't know. I mean, that is something that you have to kind of think about. That's a thing that MMA, that is kind of a thing when it's like an individual sport like that, which starting pitching also is very individual focused. It's called fading the baby. That's an angle in the MMA when a guy just had a new baby. It's like they're getting no sleep, so they're kind of out of form here. So you got to worry about that. Maybe Scooble will be out of form coming into this game. Generally, he is good against Toronto. 34 at bats. He only have 8 hits off him. 1 extra base hit, which is a home run from Vladdy Guerrero Jr. 235 average allowed, 601 OPS. But, I mean, he's Scooble. I mean, he's so good that I don't think he's really going to miss a beat here. Although money is coming in at Toronto, probably because Detroit has been really, really bad recently. Even though it is Scooble on the mound, you're having to pay a huge tax for Scooble, and Detroit's already down from -200 to -186. But I think the professional money, the feeling is, even with Scooble on the mound, like, can you really justify them being this heavy of a favorite, even though they are good at home? They've been so bad recently, and Toronto has been playing well. So, yeah, I would agree that the price is too high on Detroit. We have 56% of tickets on Detroit, 53% of the cash coming in on Toronto. I do think Gaussman could battle Scooble in this game, but I would say the way to probably lean in this game is the under. Although the total's gone up from 7 juice to the under to 7 juice to the over. We see 79% of tickets on the over, 67% of the cash on the under. So the cash looks like it is coming in on the under maybe after that initial move. It's a low total, though. You do have to worry about Scooble with his new baby there. But, I mean, he's so rich, maybe he just pays somebody to take care of the baby so he can get some sleep. I don't know. But, I mean, he's so good that I still expect him to do pretty well here. So I think it lines up for a decent under play here. I think the public kind of leans to an over, even though it is Scooble. They see, Toronto, Detroit, both teams can hit. So I think the public kind of would like an over more so in this game. But obviously, I think both pitchers have good matchup numbers, as I showed you. I think they could do well in this game. The bullpens are in decent shape, and they're both decent bullpens. So that's the way that I look in that game, even though the offenses are also fairly good in that game. Arizona at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, man, and their bullpen neither bullpen is really that good, although Pittsburgh's bullpen is better than Arizona's. Arizona's is just that bad. But I think because Pittsburgh used more of their bullpen yesterday, maybe the bullpen's kind of even out a little bit. Pittsburgh lost yesterday 1-0, and I said Arizona might be in like the wrong headspace because they traded Josh Naylor, so the management is kind of saying that, well, we're not going for the win this season. But again, it is, a professional sport. Like when players go out there and they play, they're not going to go out there and intentionally lose. I mean, they still want to be competitive. So Arizona did win the game yesterday 1-0, which I thought that they might have the upper hand, like situationally in that game, because Pittsburgh was coming off, I believe, sweeping Detroit. So Pittsburgh wasn't in the greatest spot here. I do think Arizona has a starting pitching edge in this game today as well. And they still have a hitting edge, even without Naylor. Pittsburgh's offense is so bad. You still have to give the hitting edge to Arizona. Merrill Kelly is pitching for the D-backs today. He's having a good season for them. 3.32 ERA, 1.06 whip. He's been very good both home and away. Very similar numbers there. His walk rate has been a little bit concerning, though, this month. Even though his team has won his last 2 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings in both, and he's allowed only 3 runs combined over those 11 innings and only 4 hits. He's walked 8 guys over that span, 4 in each outing, so that's a little bit concerning, man. Overall, good ERA this month in 4 starts, 2.63 ERA. Hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start going all the way back to mid-June, but 18 to 11 strikeout walk ratio. As I said, his walk rate has gone up this month, so he's a little bit wild right now. So his command is a little bit off right now. But maybe Pittsburgh is the way to correct that because their offense is so bad, and he does have good numbers against them in 56 at-bats, 17 to 4 strikeout walk ratio, 196 average allowed, 554 OPS. So maybe Kelly will bounce back and do well here. Andrew Heaney is going to pitch for Pittsburgh. He's not having a very good season. 5.03 ERA, 1.31 whip. He's been better at home, though, with a 3.58 ERA, significantly better at home, almost an ERA of almost 3 runs less at home. So he does have the home road splits in his favor here. Pittsburgh in general is better at home, but Heaney has been bad recently. His team has lost all 3 of his starts this month. He's failed to even make it through. He's failed to even make it past the 4th inning in any of the 3. He's allowed 3 or more earned runs in all of them. Has a 3 to 4 strikeout walk ratio across that span, and allowed 7 runs last time out against the White Sox. And all 3 of these starts were against pretty bad offenses in Kansas City, Minnesota, and the White Sox. So Heaney is in very bad form right now. 14 ERA this month now. Very, very bad. He's completely fallen off, and now he has to step up and face a better offense than those offenses. Even without Naylor. 83 at-bats that he has against Arizona. He's held him to a decently low average, 253, but 774 OPS is pretty high, and 20 to 11 strikeout walk ratio, not that good either. Ketel Marte, however you pronounce his name, is 6 for 13 with a couple of home runs off him. So Merrill Kelly, you got to give Merrill Kelly the upper hand in that matchup. I'd slightly lean to Arizona overall. Again, Arizona's bullpen isn't as good, but their offense is way better. Pittsburgh used a decent amount of their bullpen yesterday, so I think it's either Arizona or pass this game. Arizona's down from minus 135 to minus 132, so you are having to pay a bit of a price for them on the road, so I don't necessarily love the price on Arizona in this one. 76% of tickets, 87% of the cash coming in on Arizona. I wouldn't mind Arizona first 5 innings either if you really want to just avoid how bad Arizona's bullpen is and just go with the starting pitching matchup. I do think you have a pretty big edge there, but you might have to pay even more for that. So maybe you get a cheaper price full game. But again, you are having to lay like a road favorite, which I don't love doing, although you've seen me. Sometimes I will do that. I'm going to skip Tampa, Cincinnati for right now because that's the game I'm going to give out a total in. Colorado at Baltimore. I got that one right yesterday. Baltimore had played the day before that and was returning home. So Baltimore had a rest disadvantage while Colorado came in with rest. And Baltimore was traveling and returning home. So it was a bad spot for Baltimore. I just didn't love the idea of fading Dean Creamer at home, even though Creamer is definitely a guy that I will fade quite a bit. The creamery. I don't know, get into my my milk fetish or something like that. Dean Creamer, he's kind of a sexy dude, man, actually, not going to lie. But Baltimore, Creamer didn't do that well in the game. Baltimore lost the game late to Colorado yesterday. What we're dealing with here, though, we're still dealing with 2 pretty bad offenses, 2 pretty bad bullpens, pretty bad teams. So we got to figure out which team has the edge in the starting pitching matchup. Senzatella is pitching for Colorado. Obviously, his numbers are bad this year. 6.41 ERA, 1.83 whip, terrible numbers. He's been pretty bad, very similar, both home and away. Doesn't really matter. But this month, he's actually been a little bit better, allowing no more than 4 earned runs in any start this month across 3 starts. He's got at least 5 innings in all 3, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio. So his walk rate is actually down this month, which is pretty good. So his command has gotten a little bit better, and 5.09 ERA is better than what he's been doing. Although 2 of these starts are against White Sox and Minnesota, so bad offenses, but he did have an okay start at Fenway Park as well, where the Red Sox do hit pretty well usually. So Senzatella actually is pitching fairly well right now, but his numbers against Baltimore are not good, although Baltimore has not seen him a whole lot. Baltimore only has 3 guys who have seen him before, but they have pretty much rocked him. Laureano and O'Neill have done a ton of damage against him. In 19 at-bats, they have a 526 average against him and 1,339 OPS, although they only have 1 walk and 5 strikeouts against him. Tyler O'Neill is 6 for 8 with 2 doubles and a home run and that 1 walk in 1 K. So Tyler O'Neill really wrecks him. I wish the Red Sox kept O'Neill, man. I like him. He's a funny dude. I think his wife and his baby or whatever actually travel everywhere he goes when his team goes on the road, and he is jacked, dude. He looks like he belongs with in the bodybuilding competition from Bro Grove, man. I like Tyler O'Neill. Wish the Red Sox kept him. He's definitely a home run hitter. But anyway, yeah, Senzatella doesn't look like he matches up too well against Baltimore. Trevor Rogers is pitching for Baltimore. He's having a surprisingly good season for them so far. Hasn't pitched that much, but 1.74 ERA, 0.87 whip, good numbers, 0.61 ERA at home. You got to expect this won't last, though. I mean, Rogers, his AAA numbers, as I keep pointing out, were not that good this year, and his career numbers when he was on Miami were not really that good. So you got to think at some point there's going to be some regression in store for Trevor Rogers here. He's been okay this month, though, too. Allowing no more than 2 earned runs in any start this month, 17-6 strikeout walk ratio. Baltimore's won 4 of his last 5 starts, and the 1 start they did lose, he got absolutely 0 run support, and he has a 1.4 ERA this month. Against Colorado, his numbers are okay. Only 5 of their hitters have seen him, 22 at-bats, 273 average, 724 OPS, 3-3 strikeout walk ratio. This is a very difficult game for me to kind of get a handle on and figure out, man. Although Baltimore is just a massive favorite, up from -250 to -254. I don't think there's any value in trying to come in and play Baltimore at that price. The total's fairly high as well at 9.5, so odds makers kind of expecting we're not going to get good starting pitching or bullpens here, which may be the case. I still don't know that you can really trust Rogers here, but I don't know if you can trust these offenses to do that amount of damage either. So it remains to be seen, especially when the pitchers are somewhat unfamiliar to the opposing hitters, which usually is an advantage to the pitcher. But in this case, maybe not so much because these pitchers have been around for a while, and I don't think that they're that good. So we'll see what happens in that game. Yeah, I'm dreaming about that. That was, that bodybuilding contest, man. Yeah, so much fun. It was one of my favorite experiences of all time. Atlanta at Texas. I got this game right yesterday, and I should have given it out as a play, man. As I mentioned yesterday, I liked Texas on the run line. I was close to giving that out as a play. Eovaldi was dealing with kind of an arm injury. He only went 5 innings yesterday. That kind of limited him a little bit. They took him out after 80-something pitches, but he was still by far good enough to get Texas in position to win that game. And Texas's offense did well against that Atlanta kind of makeshift starting pitching thing that they had going. I don't know what they were doing. Atlanta had a bullpen game yesterday, but Texas actually was the team that used more of their bullpen yesterday. Texas has the better bullpen, but Atlanta's isn't that bad, and Texas's is actually less rested now after yesterday. So Atlanta actually might have a little bit of a bullpen edge coming into this game. I still don't know that I like Atlanta, though. Texas does have the worst offense, although their offense was good yesterday, again, against that kind of bad pitching situation that Atlanta was in, which was part of the reason why I did like Texas. I wish I gave it out as a play. Atlanta has Grant Holmes pitching in this game. He's been decent this year, 3.81 ERA, but 1.32 whip is a little bit high, and he has not been good on the road, 5.19 road ERA, so he has been worse on the road. This month, he's been, again, pretty mediocre, 4.29 ERA. His strikeout rate has gone way down with only 3 strikeouts in the last 2 starts compared to 4 walks. That's not a good sign. 18-10 strikeout walk ratio this month. So his strikeout walk ratio has gotten worse. Atlanta's lost a bunch of his recent games after they were kind of winning behind him, I thought. But they've lost 7 of his last 9 starts. Now, actually, 8 of his last 10 as well. So Atlanta does lose a lot of his games, even though sometimes it's just that the offense is not backing him up, and sometimes the bullpen is not doing well behind him, because over the last 2 months, he's really only allowed more than 3 earned runs once. So, but that was his second to last start, so I think he's not in very good form right now necessarily. So I don't really like Holmes in this matchup, but the Rangers have basically never seen him before. Only Tellez has ever seen him before, and he's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. So Holmes at least does have some strikeout ability, and at least Texas's offense isn't that good, and they're unfamiliar with Holmes. So maybe Holmes does have a little bit of an edge coming into this game. Kumar Rocker pitching for Texas here. His numbers on the season are not good. 5.66 ERA, 1.4 whip, but I think he does have a pretty high ceiling, man. He is able to fool guys at the major league level. He's just been kind of erratic, but he's been way better at home so far. He does have a more pitcher-friendly park, but he has a 1.84 ERA at home, so he's really struggled a lot more on the road. This month, that's been the case, too. I mean, he has a 4.5 ERA this month, but both of his bad starts were on the road. Has an 11-6 strikeout walk ratio, though 3 of those walks did come in his home start, but it was also a 1-hit performance against Detroit for 6 1/3 innings pitched, so he pitched well against a pretty good lineup there. So Rocker, maybe he is starting to come into form a little bit, but it's hard to say because he did pitch well against Seattle not that long ago, and then he kind of fell out of form again. So I don't know. Is he coming back into form? Is he going to fall back out of form? Rocker is very difficult to figure out, man, but the Braves have never seen him before, so he might have a little bit of an edge here as well with the unfamiliarity. Both pitchers are pretty much entirely unfamiliar to the opposing lineup, so probably I'm going to be looking at an under in this game if I was going to play this game at all, though I worry about Texas's bullpen, a little bit. Texas' offense isn't that good. Neither offense is that good, so that does help with the under. We have that unfamiliarity aspect going for us, and I think the public's going to look at this and not want an under here. 92% of the tickets are on the over, although 98% of the cash also on the over. But the over is just so public, and the line's dropped a little bit from 8.5 heavily juiced to the over to being less juiced to the over. So I do think the actual money seems to be coming in on the under. That's the way that I would look. Maybe you limit it to first 5 innings if you don't really want to deal with the bullpen scenario here where Texas' bullpen's a little bit burned out. I could see either approach there, really. Texas is also down from -130 to -108, so we see strong market activity on Atlanta. 69% of tickets on Texas. Texas is hot right now. Public wants only Texas. They don't want anything to do with this Atlanta team that seems to be getting professional money every single game, man. The professionals just continue to be of the mindset that Atlanta is just not as bad as their record looks. And while I agree with that, I think you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. And I don't know that I would want to do that here in this game, but 82% of the cash is coming in on Atlanta. I'm thinking there's value getting them as an underdog again. We will see. At least Texas did use some of their bullpen yesterday, but my preference would be looking towards unders in that game. Get Cole as a guest on this show. He doesn't have a podcast. He should do a fitness podcast, man. That's what he should be doing. Holmes, and he's living in Southern California. Wow, what is that? I don't really get the joke there. I just know that Holmes is better pitching at home. I don't know. Does he live in Southern Cal? I mean, no, he must live in Georgia, right? Because he's on Atlanta. He is from South Carolina originally, which you can kind of tell he's a Southerner, right? Because look at his fucking Fu Manchu and his long hair. He looks like he's chewing tobacco out there. Chicago. We have the other Subway series that's going on here. The White Sox lit the Cubs up yesterday, man. I was pretty shocked by that. Imanaga had a terrible game. I wasn't shocked that Hauser pitched well because he's been the White Sox best starter so far, or over the course of the year, but I was shocked that Imanaga was so bad in that game against such a bad White Sox offense. But this bad White Sox offense has scored double-digit runs twice over the last several games. They've scored 10, 10, 7, 8. One loss, they scored 3. Then they scored 11, 12. So somehow this White Sox offense is all of a sudden exploding. I mean, is that going to continue into today? I don't know, man, because I do think the Cubs are going to be pretty angry coming into this game. I think the Cubs were coming off some bigger games coming into that game against the White Sox, and I think they just maybe took the White Sox a little bit for granted. But the White Sox might put up some good offense again here, man, because even though I think the Cubs bullpen is decent and not in terrible shape coming into this game, the White Sox bullpen is not very good. Cubs have the bullpen advantage, but Cubs have another one of their not very good starters on the hill today. Cade Horton, 4.04 ERA, 1.36 whip. So his whip is pretty bad. He is a young guy, so I mean he could maybe start doing a little bit better, but he's been pretty shaky and he's been pretty bad on the road. A 6.35 road ERA is not good. This month, his walk numbers have been high. He's walked multiple guys in 6 straight starts, actually. The Cubs, as good as they are, they're a really good team. Their offense is one of the best in baseball, but they have not been good with Horton on the hill, which is a lot of that is his fault. They've lost 5 to 7 starts, so when you see a good team like the Cubs still losing basically every time this guy takes the mound, that's not a good sign for him either. He has a 2.08 ERA this month, but a 14 to 7 strikeout walk ratio. So again, his walk rate is just way too high. So I don't trust the fact that he's had 2 scoreless games this month. I think he's overall not very good. Against the Chicago White Sox, his numbers are not good either. They only have 12 at-bats against him. Vargas is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs off him. Overall, they have a 417 average and 1,333 OPS off him, even though it is only in that very small 12 at-bat sample size. I don't trust Horton at all here. Aaron Savali is pitching for the White Sox. He has not really been good either, though. 4.76 ERA, 1.4 whip. He's been a little bit worse at home as well, 5.01 ERA. He did get traded, so I don't know if those are his numbers with Milwaukee and the White Sox or just with the White Sox. But since the White Sox have had him, they lost 6 out of his 7 starts. They did win his last start where he pretty much dominated Pittsburgh. But then again, it is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is terrible offensively, so I don't know how much you want to take away from that start. He's been pretty ugly in all of his other starts with the White Sox. 13 to 7 strikeout walk ratio this month is still bad. 4.79 ERA, not good. Cubs have a good offense, but surprisingly, Savale, even though he was pitching in the Cubs division for a while, surprisingly, they have not hit him well. In 47 at-bats, he's got a nice 10 to 4 strikeout walk ratio, 191 batting average allowed, and 574 OPS. Suzuki does have a home run off him, but other than that, Savale has actually pitched pretty well against him. So this starting pitching matchup, again, looks like it's actually a disadvantage for the Cubs here, man. Yesterday should have been like a decent starting pitcher for both teams there. Today, I think you might be able to look for the White Sox in the first 5 innings as an underdog here. I would not want to go with them full game because they do have a bullpen disadvantage here, but I think you could maybe play the White Sox first 5 innings as a big underdog here. 61% of tickets are on the Cubs. Of course, the Cubs are going to be public here. 51% of the cash, though, coming in on the White Sox. The money is agreeing with me. Cubs are up from -170 to -184. They're a very heavy road favorite. I don't think with Horton on the mound, I really don't think that's justifiable, man. Horton here's a who, even though Savale overall has the worst numbers than Horton does. I think Savale is the more trustworthy of these two pitchers right now, to be honest, man. It has the better matchup numbers. So first 5 White Sox would probably be the way I would look. Maybe you could even do it run line, and they might be able to just get through the first 5 with a tie and still get you a win on that bet. Oh, yeah, the Cholos, yeah. Yeah, what's going on, Holmes? What's up? I don't live in SoCal, so I'm not really as familiar with that, although we do have some Hispanics in Boston as well. We do have some pretty good Mexican restaurants in Boston, believe it or not. We have a decent amount of Latinos here, Latinas, that can cook and that might make wife material, although they're all crazy. It was a groaner joke. Yeah, I mean, I like dad jokes and stuff like that. It didn't register with me for whatever reason. Miami at Milwaukee. This was kind of a weird game yesterday. If you saw this game, Milwaukee lost the game 5-1. Milwaukee kind of got derailed a little bit, I think, after they lost to Seattle. But it was a bad spot. I mentioned that yesterday. Milwaukee was returning home from an extremely successful Pacific Coast road trip. So it was a bad spot for Milwaukee yesterday. And there was one really weird thing that happened in that game yesterday where somebody on Miami, I don't even know who the hitter was, somebody on Miami hit what looked like it was going to be a home run all the way out to like left center. Milwaukee's center fielder made a really nice play to try to catch it, and it went off of his glove. It was about to go over the wall. It hit his glove while it was like over the wall, basically, and it came back into the field of play. He didn't catch it, but it was in and then out of his glove and came back onto the field, and then he had to like chase the ball down to try to get it back in. But the umpires had immediately ruled that as a home run, which is not correct. It should be a live ball, because if it hits the fielder's glove and comes back into play, that's still live. It's not a home run. That's the rule. So, and I think after it hit his glove, it then hit the top of the wall and came back in. So I think if it hits the top of the wall first without hitting his glove, that's a home run. Even if it comes back into play, I believe that's how that works. But because it hit his glove, then bounced off the ball back, it's in play. But the thing, it took him so long to chase it down, or would have taken him so long. That hitter, whoever it was going to get like an inside the park home run anyway. But the umpires, because they'd fucked it up and called it a home run initially, they had to go review it. And then they ruled it a ground rule double, because that's the only thing that they could do to try to correct the call. But the thing is, they should have just left it as a home run. That absolutely screwed Miami's hitter there, because he obviously would have had at the very least a triple on that, most likely an inside the park home run, and instead he gets a double out of it just because the umpires fucked it up. If the umpires had just not ruled it a home run on the spot like that during the play, if they just let it go, that's what you should do. Let it go, let the play out, then review it, and then if it's a home run, then fix it and change it to the home run, right? That's the way better way to do it, because then you don't fuck anything up. But they did the absolute wrong thing, and they called it a home run immediately when it might not have been. Very bad umpiring, but it didn't affect the outcome. Miami still won the game 5-1. So still, yeah, they should be fired. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of ridiculous, man, but didn't affect the outcome. Anyway, the Brewers, they're in a better spot now because, again, when a team returns home and they have a bad game in their return home spot there, they tend to play a little bit better that second game back, so that is the case with them. It is the case with Baltimore as well. I should point that out. Baltimore did return home as well, so it is a little bit of a better spot for them now after playing poorly in their first game. But I think maybe it affects the Brewers a little bit more. Both bullpens saw a decent amount of usage yesterday in this game, though. The Brewers have, I would say, the better of the two bullpens at this point. Their bullpen has gotten a bit better, but bullpens are both pretty used up right now, and the starting pitching matchup looks to me like one that you're going to look at this and say, oh, these two guys both have good ERAs, but to me, I don't think you trust either one of these pitchers. Jansen Junk is pitching for Miami. His numbers look good, 3.09 ERA, 1.03 whip. That's all pretty good, but man, I don't know if we could trust him. He's pretty much the same home and away. His ERA doesn't really matter, but I mean, his ERA is the same, so it doesn't really matter. He's been pretty good this month, 2.25 ERA, 13-3 strikeout walk ratio. Very low walk rate, doesn't allow a lot of hits, doesn't get hit hard a lot. He is kind of a junk pitcher. I mean, his name is kind of appropriate. He doesn't strike out that many guys. His command has been really good, though, so his command is still on. He is facing a good Milwaukee Brewer lineup here, although the Brewers have actually hit better on the road than they have at home, and the Brewers have never seen Junk before, so that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't know if Junk is, like, totally trustworthy, but when you have a young pitcher like that and the opposing offense has never seen him before, sometimes the opposing offense does struggle against them. And that won't be the case with Miami as far as who they're facing. Quintana is pitching for the Brewers. He's a veteran. Most guys are familiar with him. He's been around for forever. He has a pretty good 3.49 ERA this year. Still out there doing it, but his whip isn't very good. 1.31 whip, and he's been bad at home. 5.12 home ERA, so his splits aren't looking good in this game. Overall, he's continuing to pitch fairly well. 4.15 ERA this month in 3 starts. 12-4 strikeout walk ratio is decent. I mean, he is another guy. He throws basically junk. He doesn't like blow a lot of guys away. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Had 2 out of his 3 starts this month with no walks, and his starts this month were against the Mets and then the Dodgers twice. So he is facing good offenses recently and still getting the job done. And Milwaukee's won 7 of his last 9 starts, I believe. Or what? No, again, my stroke brain is throwing me off by 1. That's actually 6 out of his last 8 starts. My apologies. But still, I don't know if I totally trust him, but the Marlins are not a very good offense, and Only Fortes has ever faced Quintana before, and he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. So, again, what do you do with this game, man? And it looks like maybe he got hit by a pitch or something because the OPS was actually higher, but he didn't have a walk, so I don't know what that was about. Overall, I don't trust either one of these pitchers. They don't throw hard, so they're the types of pitchers that I kind of want to fade, but they're both very unfamiliar to the opposing offenses. So again, it might actually be a spot where you might want to look under in the first 5 innings and just expect the offenses to kind of struggle a little bit against these junk-throwing pitchers. I mean, I don't know, man. 67% of tickets, 96% of the cash on the under. Total down from 8.5 to 8.5 juice to the under. So that's kind of the way the money's coming in. As crazy as that sounds, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to touch that game, but if I went with the under, I probably would not want to go full game on that. I would kind of want to avoid kind of a sketchy bullpen situation. A's are at Houston. Houston has lost both games of the series so far. I mean, it made sense that they lost the first game of the series because it was the first game back from a pretty good road trip. So I kind of expected them to not do well in that first game. We did not expect what happened last night with our favorite guy, man, Nick Kurtz. Don't say that name too fast, man, Nick Kurtz. He had one of the best games in Major League Baseball history yesterday. He was 6 for 6 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, a double and a single, and the double that he hit was way up in Houston Stadium, by the way, the stadium I was just talking about. It was Friday night. Maybe it was Hotdog night again. It was way out to left center, and it was almost a home run, but it bounced off one of the walls and came back in, so that easily could have been a 5th home run, which has never been done before, by the way. 4 home runs in a game has been done 20 times now in the majors. 5 home runs in a game has never happened before, and he almost did it. Nick Kurtz, I mean, he's having an insane rookie season, man. He's insane. He's really, really good. Yeah, I thought that said great game, but yeah, great name and great game. Nick Kurtz, man, he's our boy. I like him. He's a sick hitter, man, but that was an embarrassing loss for the Astros, man. The A's actually are a pretty good hitting team, man. And I told you yesterday, I actually didn't like the Astros in the game yesterday either because Gusto pitching, he's not very good. So the Astros were at a disadvantage yesterday in that pitching matchup. Springs for the A's actually is pitching pretty well. So I did kind of lean to the A's yesterday as well in that game. Maybe just first 5 innings yesterday. But I think any way you played the A's, they won that game yesterday. So we're now looking at the Astros being totally embarrassed. The Astros didn't use any of their better relievers yesterday because the game was so out of hand. Neither team used any of their better relief pitchers. But we all know Houston has a way better bullpen. We're almost looking at the best against the worst here. Houston is second best in bullpen whip, at least, or actually tied for best with the Giants in whip, and the A's are dead last in bullpen whip, not in ERA, but close in ERA as well. So we're looking at one of the top bullpens against one of the worst bullpens. So Houston still has a huge bullpen edge here. A's have a slight offensive edge, but not much. Houston's offense isn't that bad. Jacob Lopez, you got to say that he's the worst of these 2 starters here today. Houston should finally get a win, I would imagine. Lopez, I mean, he's shown some signs of being able to strike guys out. He doesn't throw hard, though. It's mostly because he has a lot of different pitches in his arsenal, so he uses, like, breaking stuff and his command to fool hitters. He doesn't, like, blow guys away with, like, a hard fastball. He throws low 90s, but he's kind of starting to fall off again. 4.6 ERA, 1.34 whip. He's actually worse on the road, which is surprising because he pitches in that horrible Sacramento stadium, but he's way worse on the road. 5.72 road ERA. Not the greatest this month, although his strikeout rate is still high this month. 19 strikeouts in 14 1/3 innings, 6 walks, a little bit of a high rate, but he's allowed a ton of runs this month, man. He's allowed 4 home runs this month. He's allowed homers in 4 straight starts, 11 runs this month allowed, 11 earned runs, 6.91 ERA. So not all is good with Lopez, even though his strikeout walk ratio does indicate his command is good and that he's fooling hitters and that he should actually be pitching a little bit better than he is. But he's getting hit hard. Maybe it's a little bit unlucky of him. And he does have good numbers against Houston in 17 at-bats, 176 average allowed, 498 OPS. I think he faced Houston once early this year, and he did okay. If I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong? No, it was in June, excuse me. And he did well, actually. allowed 1 run against them in 6 innings, although walked 3 guys, but struck out 9. So Lopez actually does do fairly well against Houston, but that was the first time Houston had faced him. So Lopez probably had a little bit of an extra advantage in that game because, again, when a young pitcher is unfamiliar to the opposing offense, the offense can struggle a little bit more. So Houston might do a little bit better this time out against Lopez. And Houston, they got, like, basically their best pitcher on the mound here, man. I mean, it's between Brown and Valdez, but Brown is really, really good. Michael, what's up, man? You're gay? All right, cool. We're getting all of our shows are pretty homoerotic, man. Hunter Brown has been really good this year. 2.57 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, a little bit better at home. 2.43 ERA, so he has the splits advantage. He's the better pitcher over Lopez. There's no question about that. But Brown has struggled this month. He has a 6.43 ERA this month. But again, I think he was distracted around the All-Star break, man. He got announced. It was announced that he was going to be an All-Star for the first time. And then he did bad against Cleveland. He did bad again against Texas. Then he didn't even pitch in the All-Star game. Then they came out of the All-Star break, and he wasn't that great against Seattle either. But I think he's going to bounce back, man. The only thing you have to worry about with Brown is because he's so young, is he wearing out? So you got to look at how many innings has he pitched in a season. But I think he's probably not wearing out yet because last year he actually started pitching really well. He had good numbers last year. Because I remember him being very hittable early on in his career, which was the case 2 years ago. But last year he started becoming really good, and he threw 170 pitches, threw 170 innings, last year. So I don't think he's tiring out yet, man, midway through the season. I think this is kind of this. I said that about Logan Webb yesterday, though, and I still believe that that's true, but Logan Webb did have another bad start yesterday against a good offense. But Hunter Brown, I think he is going to start bouncing back again, man. I don't think he's worn out yet. Against the A's, he doesn't have good numbers, though. In 63 at-bats, does have an 18-2 strikeout walk ratio. That is really good. But 317 average, allowed 751 OPS. The A's do have some hits off of him. Our guy Nick Kurtz has actually never faced him before. So the other thing here is that Hunter Brown, maybe he has an edge against a guy like Nick Kurtz, who's maybe in a letdown spot. Nick Kurtz is going to be a very popular prop play today, so you might want to actually look to go against Nick Kurtz in this game, especially because he hasn't seen Brown before. So that might be a way to look here. Brown did face the A's once this year, and he did dominate them in 6 innings. 8 strikeouts, no walks, 1 run allowed, 6 hits. So Brown, I mean, he's a very different animal this year. He dominated the A's this year, so I'm not really expecting Brown to pitch poorly here in this game. So I do think Houston has the edge all around in this game, but the money's coming in against them, thinking this line is just way too high, I guess. They're down from minus 210 to minus 179, 82% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Houston. I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment, just thinking Houston is too heavy a favorite, but I don't think I would want to come in and play the A's in this game here, man. I'd be looking, and we have a low total, so the odds makers are kind of expecting, and it's dropped on the juice to the over here on the 7.5, so the money seems to kind of be coming in towards the under as well. Public over, 92% of tickets on the over because everybody saw Kurtz and that explosion yesterday. Not Kurtz from Heart of Darkness, though. Nick Kurtz, Heart of Darkness. Oh, man. We're talking about darkness a lot here. 99% of the cash on the over can't be right, but we know public will be on the over here. 92% of tickets on the over. So it may be a spot where you could start looking towards an under here as well, but I would not want to deal with Oakland's bullpen in an under spot. I still think Houston has the edge all around in this game, so I'd probably still be looking for some way to play Houston here. Maybe you want to go, man, I mean, A's under their team total actually might make sense because it's a low total, and after yesterday's explosion, it would be like a kind of a regression type of play there, but I don't know, man, because it is such a low total. You'd have to play them under a very low total as well, probably like getting them to score like 2.5 or less in the game. That's a little bit risky. Washington at Minnesota. You bottom for Pete Incaviglia. All right. Yeah, get a Kurtz rookie card. I kind of want a Kurtz jersey, man. Washington at Minnesota. Man, I got to hurry this up, man. This is going to be a long video today. I still have to get this stuff out before the 1 p.m. start time here to get everybody the information. And I haven't even talked about that game yet. It's going to be at the end of the show, which hopefully if people listen to this, they'll skip ahead if they want to see that. Minnesota hosting Washington. Minnesota, as I mentioned, returned home from a road trip yesterday, playing, in elevation and against the Dodgers. So I thought it was a bad spot for Minnesota yesterday, but they still won 1-0. Zebby Matthews actually was really good yesterday. He outpitched Mackenzie Gore, which I didn't really think that would happen. I did mention I kind of liked the under in the game yesterday and the Washington side. Gore walked a ton of guys in the game yesterday. We saw a lot of bullpen usage from both sides yesterday. Some of the better bullpen arms came in for both teams, but Washington's bullpen is so bad that I think you got to give Minnesota the bullpen edge still here, even though Minnesota's bullpen is really not that good. So if you're looking for an under in this game, I would say you want to avoid the bullpens. But if you're looking for Minnesota, I would say leaving them in as the full game play, I think could make sense here. And I do think Minnesota has a big starting pitching edge. Mitchell Parker, pitching for Washington, he's not been good. 5 ERA, 1.4 whip. Really bad on the road. 6.46 road ERA. That's no good. This month, he's been pretty awful. 7.02 ERA in 3 starts, 8-5 strikeout walk ratio, very low strikeout rate. That ratio is not good. He's been getting tagged this month, man, giving up a lot of runs here. Had a decent start last time out against San Diego, but I don't know if that's really a sign of anything. I still think he's just pitching poorly overall. Minnesota, in a small 14 at-bat sample size, does hit him fairly well. 286 batting average, excuse me. That's a lot better than 206. And 946 OPS, very high, with a home run in there from Carlos Correa as well. So I don't really trust Parker in this spot. Obviously, Joe Ryan, who's pitching for Minnesota, has been really, really good. The only thing you got to worry about is, just like I said with Bubich, you got to worry about the trade rumors that are swirling around. And is that going to affect Ryan's mindset here? I don't know, but he's been really good this season. 2.63 ERA, 0.9 whip. He's been really, really good. He's been basically almost as good both home and away. It doesn't really matter. This month, he's been really good, even though he did actually pitch in the All-Star game. He's allowed no more than 2 earned runs in any start, and he's allowed 1 earned run in 3 of the 4. He allowed 0 in his last start in June. This month, he has a 28-3 strikeout walk ratio as well. He's getting the job done, man. He's dominating this month. He's pitching really well. There's no doubt about that, although he faced weak offenses. Miami, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Tampa Bay, not a great offense either, but still, Ryan's very, very good. Against Washington, he has really good numbers as well. In 35 at-bats, he pretty much dominates them. He's allowed 0 extra base hits, 8-1 strikeout walk ratio, 229 average, 479 OPS. So everything kind of lines up for Minnesota in this game. It's not a bounce back spot because they actually won yesterday too in that return home spot. But they have the way better starting pitcher, the better of the matchup as well. They have the better bullpen, probably have the better offense too. I mean, Washington's offense is not very good, even though Minnesota's isn't that good either. Minnesota, you're paying a price, though. They're up from -225 to -230. 88% of tickets, only 84% of the cash on them. So the money is kind of saying, well, the money's kind of fading Minnesota, thinking Minnesota's just maybe too heavy of a favorite here. It is a pretty high total, all the way up from 8 to 9 already. 59% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the over. I don't know that I want to play an over game with Joe Ryan pitching, although once it gets to the bullpen, you could see both bullpens get a little bit torn up in this game, but I still don't know that I want to go with an over with Joe Ryan like this. I think I would actually want to go Washington under their team total in the first 5 innings. I think might make sense in this one, or maybe in the full game. Although I don't know if I would trust Minnesota's bullpen really to hold them down, but just limiting it to Ryan dominating Washington's hitters, I think might be the way to look here. You could probably get Washington under, I don't know, somewhere in the 2.5 range, maybe in the first 5 innings, I would guess. Maybe that's the way you want to look in that game. Dodgers at Red Sox, my Red Sox. I thought the Red Sox had a decent chance to win that game yesterday, but it was a return home spot after an extra innings. Big win against Philly, so it wasn't really the greatest spot for them, although it looked like the value side was the Red Sox yesterday as a home underdog with a pitching matchup that looked like it could have gone either way. I liked the early under in the game yesterday, and the full game went under, but the first 5 innings didn't because both starting pitchers actually wound up allowing a few runs in there. So very unfortunate there if you had the first 5 inning under and not the full game under. Bad. I would apologize for that, or I do, but I didn't give it out as a play either. Red Sox are in a better spot today, though, because, again, they returned home, lost the game. Might be a better spot here. The Red Sox fans might be extra angry and maybe hungry for a win because the stupid concession workers in the first time in Fenway history are striking. And it is just, it's so stupid, dude. When they strike, all they do is just cause a scene outside and just disrupt everybody's day. They bang on drums and start yelling at you. It's like, fuck off, dude. Like, we know what you're doing here. And then they get mad because scabs come in, because obviously the Red Sox are not going to host a game in a weekend series against the Dodgers and not sell concessions. So obviously they have other workers come in and work the concession stands. And then the people who are striking are mad. Well, it's like, then fuck you then, because you do a job that's so unskilled that people can just come in and do your job, and they're willing to do it. Yeah, they're willing to do it for that amount. So fuck off. You should lose your job then. Fuck the hell off. Yeah, it's all unionized. I mean, it's all bullshit, man. So that's going on at Fenway here. But I think the Red Sox have a better shot to win this game here. They're at least a favorite here. They do have the better of the two starting pitchers, although people are gonna hail this as a really good starting pitching matchup. Bullpen-wise, I think the Red Sox have the bullpen edge. Dodgers did use some of their bullpen yesterday, more than the Red Sox did, and the Dodgers already have the worst of the two bullpens at this point. Red Sox don't have the better offense. The Dodgers do have the better offense, so the Red Sox offense is good at home, so Red Sox can definitely compete as far as how their offense does at home. Kershaw is pitching for the Dodgers, and if this was a few years ago, this would be... Well, maybe if this was last year, even maybe it would be a crazy pitching matchup, but I don't know about Kershaw this year, man. I mean, he is still pitching fairly well. 3.27 ERA, 1.25 whip. He's been better on the road, 1.88 road ERA. He's still trying to come back from that injury, but the Dodgers have lost his last two outings now, which are both against Milwaukee, though. He pitched decently in really kind of both of those games, but he didn't even last 5 innings in the most recent outings, so... I think when he went 100 pitches against the White Sox, I think he kind of overextended himself a bit. And then he got named to the All-Star game, but he's been an All-Star so many times. I don't think that was really a distraction for him. I just think he's kind of fallen a little bit out of form here, man. He's allowed 20 hits in 16 1/3 innings this month. That's not a good sign, allowing more hits than innings pitched. Only 8 strikeouts, so his strikeout rate has gone way down. 7 earned runs, 3.86 ERA, but 3 walks. 3 walks isn't that bad, in and of itself, but the strikeout rate has gone way down. So I think Kershaw is somewhat hittable right now, even though he's not allowing that many runs. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs twice so far this season. Red Sox don't have a lot of guys who have seen him before, but the 3 guys who have seen him before, Bregman, Refsnyder, and Story, or really just Bregman and Story, have both done damage off him. Overall, in 34 at-bats, he does have a good 11-2 strikeout walk ratio against him. Bregman has homered off him twice. Those are his only hits off him, though. 294 average overall, 892 OPS. So the Red Sox hitters who have seen him before have done okay against Kershaw. Maybe he will have an edge against the Red Sox hitters who haven't seen him before, but he's so well-known that some of the Red Sox, I mean, you can find, scouting on him or whatever. I know it's not the same as facing him in a game, but still... Kershaw's not really a mystery at this point. And Garrett Crochet, you got to give him the upper hand in the starting pitching matchup. I mean, he's the much younger pitcher, and he's really in, peak form right now. 2.19 ERA, 1.06 whip. He has the better stuff, the better velocity, and the better strikeout stuff over Kershaw here now. He's a little bit worse at home, 2.35 ERA, but that's still obviously very good. This month, he's been really good in 3 straight starts. The Red Sox have won... how many starts is this since the Red Sox have started playing well offensively? 8 of his last 9 starts have all been wins for the Red Sox. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only twice over that span, although those were both starts where he didn't do well against the Yankees and Cincinnati. Well, he gave up 5 earned runs in both of them, but he had an 18-2 strikeout walk ratio on those 2 games too, so he was still commanding his pitches. This month, including a start at Wrigley Field, he's still pitching really well, allowing only 3 runs in 20 innings, 21-4 strikeout walk ratio, also a complete game against Tampa in there. So he's definitely in good form right now. He is the pitcher that is in better form than Kershaw. I mean, he's at a better part of his career than Kershaw is, but he's facing a good Dodgers lineup. Dodgers have hit him decently, but not that well. In 21 at-bats, 286 average, but they've not hit him for a lot of power or anything like that, or walked a lot. 9-2 strikeout walk ratio, only 1 extra base hit, a double from Betts. 681 OPS overall is pretty low. 9-2 strikeout walk ratio, pretty low as well. So Crochet, I think you give him the upper hand in the starting pitching matchup here. I would lean to the Red Sox in this game. I think they do have the bullpen edge as well. So full game to me does make sense. They're up from -130 to -139 here. 74% of the cash coming in on the Red Sox. 58% of the tickets on the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are the public team. Public coming in, seeing the Dodgers have the better record. They won yesterday. Everybody thinks the Dodgers have the better offense, which they do. They're going to look at this and think, oh, this is a huge pitching duel, and I get the Dodgers as an underdog, so they're going to want to take the Dodgers. I would disagree with that sentiment, obviously. I think Crochet is actually probably well prepared to outduel Kershaw here. And again, if Kershaw's out of the game before Crochet is, which may very well happen, Dodgers already are at the bullpen disadvantage, and they will have to use their bullpen sooner as well. So that could kind of carry through the game as well. So I do lean to the Red Sox in that game. Yeah, the leftist losers. I think I showed that. A Fenway Frank, yeah. The Fenway Franks, they've changed a bit, man. They actually changed their hot dog suppliers. So, I mean, it's nothing that special, but I mean, it's a pretty ordinary hot dog, to be honest. But I mean, it's at Fenway, so it is way too expensive, though. You're probably paying like $9 for a fucking hot dog now, and it's not even a big hot dog. It's just a normal size dog. But last time I was at the game, I haven't been to a game this year, but last time I was at the Red Sox last year, I was out in the bleachers with my dad and my sister. We went to a game against Toronto, and my brother-in-law as well. Don't want to forget him. That made it sound like I don't like him. That's not even the case at all. I do, actually. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. One of the concession guys had hot dogs left at the end, so it was like late innings, and the guy was just trying to get rid of the hot dogs because he knew he wasn't going to be able to sell any of them anymore, so it was just free hot dogs all over the place. So I had a couple of free dogs at that game. I didn't want to, like, hoard them. It's like, you know, equality and all that shit, right? Let some other people have the dogs as well, but I think I had 2 hot dogs, I think, and didn't have to pay anything, and normally you pay $9, so, yeah, that's right. Hell yeah. The way to eat the Fenway Frank, by the way, I will tell you right now, is Goulden's brown mustard. That is the only topping that you put on it. That is my opinion. I think it's the correct opinion. Ketchup is disgusting on a hot dog. It's a very weak condiment. Yellow mustard is very slovenly as well. Those are like cookout condiments, man. That's not what you want. Brown mustard is what you want. That is the way to go. It's a little bit spicier. It's a better mustard. Joey Chestnut, yeah. So I think Fenway, they did use Hebrew National, which, of course, because, you know, Israel owns everything. So they did use Hebrew National hot dogs, I think, for a while. But now I think they might use Cayenne. I'm not sure. But anyway, but that means there's no pork in the hot dogs, right? That means they're all beef because it can't be pork. It has to be kosher. Can't be pork. But, yeah, whatever it is, I mean, it's not a bad hot dog. I mean, it tastes fairly good, even though it's one of those boiled, stadium dogs. But still, obviously I'm agreeing with that. Yeah, I think they are kosher, but they taste pretty good. Put the brown mustard on that thing. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, I already did Cleveland, Kansas City doubleheader. San Diego at St. Louis. Man, this is going to be a long video here. St. Louis is on the verge of a sweep here, and I'm not so sure that they don't get it here, man. The one issue is, of course, San Diego is going to show up with some fire. They're not on the verge of a sweep. What am I saying? Because they play tomorrow, too. But St. Louis has won the first 2 games of the series so far with a shutout yesterday. So, in a way, San Diego should show up with some fire and bounce back here, potentially. But I think San Diego has a big starting pitching disadvantage here, although I do think San Diego has the bullpen edge because they have the better bullpen, and St. Louis, to finish off that game yesterday, used like all their best relief pitchers yesterday. So St. Louis is at the bullpen disadvantage here. They are at a bullpen disadvantage. But I think San Diego has the weaker starter here. I do not like Randy Vasquez. You know that by now if you watch me. 3.73 ERA is good, but 1.41 whip, that is not good at all. He puts way too many guys on base. He's worse on the road, 4.34 ERA. I just don't see how you can trust this guy. His strikeout walk ratio this month is ridiculous, dude. 2 strikeouts and 8 walks in 14 2/3 innings pitched and 15 hits on top of that. And yet somehow, and his ground ball rate isn't even high, and yet somehow he's allowed only 5 earned runs this month. How can that possibly continue? You cannot possibly strike out absolutely nobody, walk a ton of guys, allow a bunch of hits on top of that, and keep the runs at bay. It can't happen. And again, last time out, Didn't strike out anybody against Miami, and I lost. That was a loss of mine that I gave out on the show. I gave up Miami first 5 innings. He walked a guy, gave up 7 hits in 4 1/3 innings, no strikeouts, and Miami still only managed 1 run off him. It makes no sense. He's going to implode again at some point. Vasquez, his numbers are just, his numbers indicate that he should regress in a major, major way. I don't get it. In 3 of his last 4 starts, he hasn't even made it past 4 1/3 innings, and yet San Diego has actually won his last 5 starts, even though their offense hasn't even been very good. Their bullpen is at least good and kind of holding his game in check there, but I don't trust him at all. Only has 15 at-bats against St. Louis, which is not a lot of at-bats. They do have a 333 average against him, an 878 OPS, despite not even having a home run off him. The only extra base hit is a triple from Donovan, and their OPS is still that high. 2 walks compared to 1 strikeout, so again, not striking guys out. I don't see how you can trust Vasquez at all. Liberatore is pitching for St. Louis. He's been decent this year. He's starting to pitch a little bit worse recently, though, which is a concern. 4.13 ERA this year, 1.25 whip. He has been worse at home, which is another concern. 4.59 ERA at home. So if you like Liberatore, I would agree that I like him better than Vasquez, but I do think you have to dial it back a little bit just because over his last 3 starts, he's walked 5, 4, and then 1 in his last start where he only lasted 3 innings, gave up 6 earned runs to Atlanta, and didn't strike out anybody. So over that span, we're looking at a 9-10 strikeout walk ratio from him, which is not good. So all of a sudden, Liberatore is out of command, out of form, walking a bunch of guys. So I do worry about that. Prior to that, he was pitching really well, though, for the most part. So maybe he will come back into form at some point. And St. Louis had won 4 starts in a row of his before they lost his last one. I still think he's better than Vasquez. His numbers are not horrible against San Diego. It's a very small 14 at-bat sample size, though. Machado does have a home run off him, so they do have an OPS that's a little bit high, but a 214 average is quite low. 812 OPS, though, so the OPS is a bit high, but still, I do think Liberatore has the better of the matchup here and is the better pitcher over Vasquez. So I'd be looking maybe St. Louis' first 5 innings in this game might be the best way to look at this because you do not want to have to deal with their bullpen disadvantage, in my opinion, even though I do think St. Louis probably does have the better bats over San Diego at this point. San Diego, remember, is also bad on the road. I just think St. Louis generally is not as good as their record looks, but San Diego is a bad road team. St. Louis isn't as good as their record looks, but still, yeah. San Diego, I think, should be fadeable here. St. Louis up from -140 to -145. 54% of the cash on St. Louis, with 72% of the cash coming in on the Padres. So the one thing that worries me, again, is that Liberatore is in kind of bad form right now. But other than that, St. Louis' first 5 innings looks good to me, although you might have to pay a bit of a price for it. So maybe you look towards like a run line in that case or something like that. But that's the way that I look at that game. Mets at Giants. Let's try to get this done in a little bit over an hour and a half, at least, man. Of course, the Mets blew out the Giants 8-1 yesterday. Giants returning home from a road trip. It was not a good spot for them. Mets do have the better offense. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Both teams used a little bit of their bullpen yesterday. The Giants do have the bullpen advantage here. Neither bullpen is that bad, but the Giants have one of the top bullpens in baseball. So you give them the bullpen edge. Obviously, you give the Mets the hitting edge here. Giants are in a bounce-back spot, though, because, again, when you return home and you play really poorly in that first game, you tend to do better the next time out. So I think San Francisco is in a better spot for that reason. Starting pitching, David Peterson pitching for the Mets. He's a guy that I still can't figure out. I still think that his peripherals make it look like he should not be pitching this well, and he's continuing to pitch well. 2.9 ERA, 1.22 whip. His numbers are pretty good in that respect. He is worse on the road, though. 4.02 road ERA, so he's not as good on the road. This month, he has a .92 ERA, though, even though the All-Star distraction might have come into play there. He did pitch in the All-Star game. His team has won 2 of his 3 starts this month. He has a 14-4 strikeout walk ratio, only allowing 2 runs and 14 hits in 19 2/3 innings. So again, he's continuing to pitch well. He's continuing to induce a ton of ground balls, which is how he kind of gets out of putting guys on base. His ground ball rate is extreme, so that is pretty good for Peterson. His numbers are not good against the Giants, though, in 39 at-bats. 10-9 strikeout walk ratio, bad, although Adames has 7 of those walks. 308 average allowed, 899 OPS, and Flores does have a home run off him. Endeavors is pretty good, 4 for 10 off him with a double. So Peterson Not the greatest matchup there for him against these San Fran hitters, even though San Fran doesn't even have a good offense. Robbie Ray pitching for San Francisco. He's having a good season, basically from out of nowhere, even though he's in his early 30s. Very strange. 2.92 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's been quite good at home, 2.53 home ERA. But recently, he's been falling off a little bit. 3.6 ERA this month. He got named to the All-Star game as well, so that was a little bit of a distraction in there. So maybe he was distracted coming out of the All-Star break. He didn't pitch in the All-Star game, but he came out of the break and only went 4 1/3 against Toronto on the road and gave up 2 home runs, 5 earned runs, walked 5 guys in the game. That is not a good sign. So he might not be in very good form right now, but you could argue that it was a distracted spot for him and maybe he should improve again in this start. That is possible as well. 21-11 strikeout walk ratio this month doesn't look good, but again, a lot of it is because of that one really bad start against Toronto. We'll see what happens here. His numbers are mediocre against the Mets. His 60 at-bats. 21-2 strikeout walk ratio is really good. 250 average is good as well, but 791 OPS, a little bit high because he's allowed some bombs. Nimmo, Marte, and Lindor all have home runs off him. So, I mean, I could see maybe an argument for an over in this game. The total came in really low at 7.5, with the bullpen usage being a little bit high now. Starting pitchers maybe both being a little bit questionable, and their matchup numbers not looking that great. Total flip from being juiced to the under to juiced to the over. 51% of tickets, 66% of the cash on the over. So the money looks like it is coming in on the over. I would probably prefer the San Francisco side, though. I actually think I kind of like Ray to bounce back, and I like his matchup numbers more than I like David Peterson. And I like the fact that he kind of strikes out more than Peterson does. Mets are very public, especially after they blew out San Francisco yesterday. You know the public loves offense. 71% of tickets, only 65% of the cash. So you have a situation where you have a very public road underdog in the Mets here. And San Francisco down a little bit from -115 to -109. So you're getting a pretty more than reasonable price on San Francisco here. So I do like San Francisco in that game as well. Seattle at Anaheim. Anaheim lost the first game of the series, and then won last night. Both low scoring, close games here. Still think Seattle, obviously has the bullpen edge here. We can't trust the Anaheim bullpen at all, even though they have looked okay the last couple of games. I don't think you could trust Anaheim's bullpen whatsoever. I would say Seattle does actually have the better offense, too. Kirby is pitching for Seattle here. His numbers, his ERA doesn't look good, 4.65, but his whip is pretty good, 1.13. He has a 5.4 road ERA, though, so he's been bad on the road so far this year. Although he's kind of trying to come back into form. He was injured for a while. He hasn't really been that bad. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in every start except early on when he first came back from his injury. He's allowed 4 earned runs each in his last 2 starts. One was at Detroit and the other was at home against Milwaukee. 2 pretty good offenses, and we know Milwaukee's good on the road. He still did decently in those starts. This month, he has an 18-4 strikeout walk ratio. Seattle has still won 3 of his last 4 starts and actually 6 of his last 8. He is still in good form right now, in my opinion. He induces a decent amount of ground balls, too. So 4.15 ERA this month, actually a little bit misleading based on the way he's actually been pitching. He is pitching okay. Against Anaheim, he has pretty good numbers and 92 at-bats, so even though they're very familiar with him, they don't do that well against him. 26-4 strikeout walk ratio, 239 average allowed, 684 OPS. So Kirby, not bad numbers here, and I think he is the much more trustworthy pitcher over Tyler Anderson. If you watch my show, you know I don't like this guy. His numbers are really starting to fall apart after he looked good early in the season, but he is not that good. He's in his mid-30s. He's never really been that good. The regression is happening, and it was pretty predictable. 4.43 ERA, 1.41 whip is really not good. He has been better at home, though. 3.12 ERA at home, so he's definitely better at home. He's been okay this month with a 4.5 ERA, allowing no more than 4 earned runs in any start, but I trust him a lot less than I trust Kirby, man, because his strikeout walk ratio is a lot worse. 16-11 this month. He's walked 2 or more in every outing going all the way back to mid-June, although most of those were 2 walk outings, but he walked 5 last time out against the Mets. Yes, he faced some pretty difficult offenses to face, and a lot of them were on the road this month. Mets, Arizona at home, at Toronto, at Atlanta. Atlanta's not that great of an offense. He had to go to New York, and then he faced Boston in the last couple of starts in June. So he has had a difficult stretch of opponents. He is not that bad against Seattle, even though they're pretty familiar with him. 122 at bats, 32-13 strikeout walk ratio, still kind of too many walks. 238 average, 705 OPS. Not really bad numbers, though, for Anderson there. The money is coming in on LA, too, on Anaheim. So Seattle, probably, again, the professional money is probably just saying that's too heavy a price. A lot of times it just has to do with the price more than like what the matchup is and whatever. But you know me, I'm a matchup and stats guy when it comes to baseball. Seattle down, although I do market read and I do read situations as well. I read situations in every sport, man, but way more heavily in every other sport besides baseball, leaning to the situation. Seattle down from -145 to -125, very public, 78% of tickets. Only 58% of the cash coming in on, except that 58% of the cash is coming in on Anaheim. So I was trying to read the comments at the same time. So Seattle's very public, but the cash is coming in against them. So Anaheim looks like an anti-public home underdog here. But again, I don't trust Anderson. I don't trust Anaheim's bullpen either. So I don't really think it's very enticing to take Anaheim here, man. Let's just put it that way. I don't see it myself. So the money coming in there, probably just a matter of price there. But again, I don't love it. I would actually probably slightly lean to Seattle in that game. I just don't think it's worthy of a play either, though. The problem with, offense versus defense, in every sport, the public overrates offense. So if you're betting, you usually do better if you bet on the defense because the public always wants offense. So defense is the better thing to bet on, and I think it does win out more often than offense does in basically every sport, although in baseball it's pitching and defense because defense is basically fielding, but I think good pitching outweighs good offense in baseball, good hitting. Good pitching outweighs good hitting. And in basically every other sport, good defense outweighs good offense, in my opinion, for the most part, at least, more or less. Let's get to my plays here, man. It's the best bet segment before we get out of here, and you kind of know what they are already. First one up is coming up in a little bit over an hour now, and that is the Yankees. I told you, even though I'm a Red Sox fan, I don't want to do it, but I can't factor in my biases here, man. We're going to go with the Yankees, and you can get them. When are you ever going to get the Yankees at home in the Bronx as basically an underdog, a plus 100 price? This is a value play, man. I think there is value on playing the Yankees in this game. You might have to get them as a slight favorite, but I think that's still fine as well. Philly has actually moved up a little bit. They're actually up from -120 to -128 now. 60% of tickets, 63% of the cash coming in on Philly. I don't know that I buy more of the cash is coming in on Philly, man. Even though on the surface you look at this, Suarez has the way better ERA over Stroman. And yes, I kind of prefer Suarez over Stroman. But you got to look at what's going on in the whole game, man. You got to take everything into account in this game. I think Philly is being overvalued here. I don't think they should be a favorite on the road like this with Suarez. I don't think he's really as good as his ERA would suggest. I know Stroman is not that good, but when we dig into the matchup numbers, you'll see why I think this is worthy of a play here. But also, when it's full game, you have to take into account the batting, and you got to take into account the bullpens. Oh, yeah, who has the best hitting in all of baseball, OPS-wise? Yeah, that'd be the Yankees. So I have to give the Yankees the offensive edge here, especially at home. Phillies are good, but they're 8th offensively in OPS, so they're not as good as the Yankees. Bullpen-wise, even though the Yankees' bullpen has not really been that good, they're 18th in WHIP, which is not that bad, although they are worse in ERA. Philly has an ERA that's almost as bad, but their WHIP is actually higher, so I think I give the Yankees the bullpen edge as well here over Philly. So again, we're looking full game here. It has me looking at the Yankees here, man. Yankees, even though yesterday, if we look at the game yesterday, Philly just blew out the Yankees yesterday. So again, I think that helps our play too because that was kind of a misleading result a little bit, man. Philly out-hit the Yankees 14-10, but blew them out on the scoreboard 12-5. Based on the amount of hits, it looks like it should have been a little bit closer. I mentioned I liked the over in yesterday's game, and that certainly happened. But the Yankees had a bad pitcher going. Both teams used their bullpens yesterday, but I think we saw a little bit more bullpen usage from Philly from like their better relievers, right? Because the game was over as far as the Yankees are concerned. Philly wanted to make sure they hung on to that win. So I think you got to give the Yankees the bullpen edge here. And then we'll look at the starting pitching. It almost looks like it's a pitching mismatch in favor of Suarez because he's been really good this year. Ronier Suarez, 2.66 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. And yes, he's been better on the road too, 1.47 ERA on the road. I get it. I mean, his splits line up nicely for him here, but I don't trust him at this point at all, man. He's a guy that I said he was going to regress after he had a hot start last year. He seems like a guy that just kind of wears down at some point, and it happened last year, and I think it's happening again here, man. This month, he has not been anywhere near as good. 5.63 ERA, and it's not like he faced like a murderer's row of offenses either. He faced the Reds, San Diego at San Diego's pitcher-friendly park, and Anaheim. Those are not great offenses, and he had a 5.63 ERA in 16 innings, 20 hits allowed, 10 earned runs allowed, 9 walks, and 15 strikeouts. So he's allowing a ton of walks, multiple walks in every start. He is in bad form right now. And last time out against Anaheim at home, he got bombed against Anaheim. Didn't even make it 5 innings, allowed 9 hits, 4 walks, 6 earned runs against a mediocre offense. That is not a good sign. Suarez against the Yankees, also not very good. 54 at-bats, although a 16-1 strikeout walk ratio looks good, but the Yankees have been able to hit him. 315 batting average, 846 OPS, couple of dingers in there from Grisham and McMahon, who, by the way, the Yankees just got. So the Yankees just traded some prospects to get McMahon, the third baseman, over from Colorado. McMahon probably going to be excited to be in a new environment like this. I don't know if he's going to play today, though, but I think that was a good move for the Yankees. Unfortunately for me, that's going to bolster the Yankees' offense even more. So I think it's going to help them in this game if he is playing. Marcus Stroman on the other side, I know his numbers are terrible this year. 5.64 ERA, 1.48 whip. He's not a great starter, although he is at least better. If you look at his career numbers, he's at least better than those numbers would suggest. He has been worse at home, so I know we're going against the splits here. 6.46 ERA at home, but he's pitching a lot better than Suarez is as of late, man. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start going all the way back to since he came back from injury. So he pitched early in the season, wasn't doing well, got injured. Since he's come back from injury, he's made 4 starts. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of them. The Yankees have won 3 out of the 4, and this month he has an 11-3 strikeout walk ratio, so his command is kind of getting there a little bit more. Yes, he's allowed some home runs and more hits than innings pitched, so he's getting hit a little bit, but I still think that he's the pitcher that's in the much better form right now. So I think, again, this is a value play on the Yankees as well. Getting them as an underdog looks like the right way to go here, man, and fading the public. And we have the better matchup, I think, here because Stroman actually has good numbers against Philly in a big 139 at-bat sample size, 28-9 strikeout walk ratio, 173 average, allowed him 458 OPS. So he's actually pretty much completely dominated Philly. So I like this a lot, actually. We're going to go Yankees in this game. I don't like the fact that that the Yankees, that I think they're going to win the game. I know, boo them, but I mean, I told you no bias in here. Wherever you can make money, that's where we're going to go. And then the last play, as you know, I told you, I found this at even money out there. I mean, it is Rays, Reds under the total of 9. Even though I know the odds makers have put up a total of 9. I know we're dealing with a pitcher-friendly ballpark here in Cincinnati, but I think the weather conditions, we do have the weather report up here. The weather conditions are not exactly that conducive to a high-scoring game here. It's going to be rainy. So, if you have the thicker, humid air there, the rain actually might be bad, as far as, home runs are concerned. The wind is blowing right to left, so there's no wind blowing out here either. So that doesn't look that bad for an under here as well. But I like the starting pitching matchup as well. I don't hate either bullpen. I know Cincinnati used some of their bullpen yesterday, but they still kind of left their best relievers alone. So I'm still going to go full game here. I mean, we're looking at decent bullpens. We have Tampa Bay in whip at 11th, and they're decently rested. Cincinnati a little bit less well-rested, like I said, but they're 15th. So we have okay bullpens, and the hitting is pretty mediocre here. We have Cincinnati and Tampa right here at 13th for Tampa and 14th for Cincinnati OPS-wise. So we're not dealing with, great offenses here either. And I like the starting pitching matchup with Pepio. I know a lot of the advanced analytics guys really don't like Pepio, but I look at his numbers and I kind of like it. 3.59 ERA, 1.16 whip, not bad on the season. He's been slightly worse on the road, 3.83 ERA, but that's still not bad. He's also used to pitching in a home run-friendly park because that's where Tampa plays this year. So he's pitching well this year despite playing in his own home run-friendly park. So that's not a bad sign. This month he's been fine. 4.5 ERA isn't that good. Some of it because he allowed 5 runs last time out against Baltimore, but he still went 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. He got tagged from the home runs, so that's the worry here. He's allowed 7 home runs this month, so that is the concern. But prior to that, he wasn't really allowing as many home runs, so I think maybe that got a little bit fluky. He did have to pitch at Fenway, at Detroit. That's not really that easy to do. Overall this month, I mean, he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. That's good. 26-8 strikeout walk ratio, more than 1 strikeout per inning. So his command is there, and he's gone 6 innings in every outing. And again, hasn't allowed that many runs. So he is still pitching pretty well this month. And the Reds have never seen him before, except Connor Joe is 1 for 5 off him. Cotton-Eye Joe? Connor-Eye Joe? Joe is 1 for 5 off him with 1 strikeout. So do with that information what you will, but I think Pepio, being unfamiliar to the Reds' bats, I think is going to be a little bit of an extra edge for Pepio as well, the fact that the bats haven't seen him before. And then we got on the other side, Andrew Abbott having a great season, man. 2.13 ERA for the Reds, 1.09 whip. He's been great. 1.98 ERA at home. Really excellent. He did pitch in the All-Star game, but he hasn't even slowed down, man. This month, he's still been good, except for 1 bad start at Philadelphia, but you can give him a pass. I mean, Philadelphia, good offense. They're good at home. Even including that, he has a 3.71 ERA this month, which still isn't even bad. 12-3 strikeout walk ratio. So strikeout rate, not that high, but his command is still good. He's not getting tagged for a lot of home runs. He is pitching well, man, and it's been that way for a while, so he's not allowing a lot of runs overall either. Andrew Abbott, yeah, I mean, overall, I don't want to belabor it. His numbers are good, and the Rays have not seen that much of him either. 5 hitters have seen him before. Yandy Diaz is the only hit off him, although it is a home run, but they're 1 for 12 off him with 8 strikeouts. That is an extreme strikeout rate, although a lot of it is Morel, who's got 5 strikeouts and 6 at-bats, but even so, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 0.83 batting average allowed for Abbott against the Rays, 600 OPS. So I think both pitchers have a nice little unfamiliarity edge here. Both pitchers can actually, I think, pitch well in this game and duel in this game. I think the total came out too high in this game, even though usually it's high for a reason, but in this game, I'm not seeing it as much. The total, the juice on the over 9 dropped a little bit, but I still saw the under 9 at this very reasonable price here. I don't think you can get the under 9.5 at all, but 9 is a key number. Don't get it under 8.5, though. Make sure you get it under 9. But 9 is a key number, so at least if it lands exactly 9, you'll push. If it's a 5-4 tie-breaking score there, we have 58% of tickets on the over. Public's only going to come in on the over here, especially I think Cincinnati did score a lot in yesterday's game, too. But it was 7-2, I think, so it wasn't even that high scoring. And I think it was a bit of a misleading final as well, because that game was like 2-1 Tampa into the 5th inning. So I was wrong about Tampa being the right side yesterday, but still, 58% of tickets on the over here, 64% of the cash on the under. So the market is agreeing with me, and that's going to do it, man. That is the read there. I could probably just make sure that Action Network does still have the market numbers agreeing with me. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, they still look like it's an agreement on the Yankees and on the under in this game. Yeah, so I will we'll go with that. And that's going to do it, man. So once again, Yankees money line and under in Reds and Rays, or Rays-Reds. That's going to do it for me. Cotton-Eye Joe on the uke. I'll have to see what that even looks like. I can bring out the banjo-lele for that one, maybe, if I do that. Maybe I'll actually do that. I don't know. It might be pretty hilarious. Thanks for hanging out, especially Charles. You've been dominating the chat today. I appreciate it. Charles, Michael, Thomas, who's been in the chat? Just you three. Not Michael Thomas, the wide receiver from the Saints or whatever. But thanks, guys, for hanging out. That's going to do it. I got to get this video up. Let's have a good Saturday. Peace out, everybody. Everybody have a good one today. And Tower Gang Toad on Twitter, of course. Let me get the banner down. Sorry. Learn to Toad. What am I saying, Tower Gang Toad? Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram, where I post the Bettor Off Dead stuff. We got Bettor Off Dead. Follow me, subscribe, like, comment, do all the things on YouTube and on the audio platforms. Covered in uke. I also have a YouTube channel for my uke. So I'm keeping that up to date as well. And patreon.com/learntotode, where you get bonus uke content if you are at one of the higher levels of the Patreon. Spotify feed, you can request. You can give me requests. And then we got my Give Send Go is getting a little bit of traction again, which is at givesendgo.com/towergangtoad there, which is, as you can find it in like my tweets and whatever. And then Yeah, I think that's it. Then I do have a link tree where all the links are. So linktree.com slash tower game, or no, slash learn to toad is where that is. You can find all that there. Everybody have a good one. Peace out.